This is Rock and Roll is supported by the Just Nuts Music School. Learn and play music every day. And also Manhattan Beer Distributors, the leading distributor of party beverages in the Bronx. On this episode of This is Rock and Roll, we interview Gabe Dassa from Classic Sounds, where he shares with us his love for a cappella music.
It's an instrument that everybody has, and if you can sing and you can, coordinate tones together, you can really lock things to make it come out as a beautiful sound.
So sit back, relax, because this is Rock and Roll.
So happy, but sometimes I feel so sad. I guess I'll learn to take with the bad. Each night I have the songs of very nice. I cried a tear for nobody but you. Will I be the lonely one if you should say we're through? Well, if you want to make me cry, that won't be so hard to do. 'Cause I just go on staying so deep in love with you. Each night I have the soul. Everybody in the house, scream! Wow, that's good. Somebody take a solo. Oh, well.
Hi, everybody. That was the Just Nuts Band. And from WVOX Radio and host of This is Rock and Roll, we have Mr. Dennis Dion Nardone.
Thank you, Mary, and welcome to another edition of This is Rock and Roll. Thank you, Mary, for that wonderful, wonderful introduction once again. My name is Dennis Dion Nardone, and once again, welcome to This is Rock and Roll, and want to say hello to our very special guest from the a cappella group Classic Sounds. His name is Dr. Gabe Dassa. Doctor,
All right, Dennis.
welcome to This is Rock and Roll. A true honor to have you on. But before we start, I have to have one of our directors bring one of our official cups from the TV show. There you go.
Oh, wow.
Al Balfieri, our set
so much.
director. And you could have your morning coffee with that, I hope.
That is so neat.
And right now, I'll toast to you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Classic Sounds, and you guys have been great. A cappella group. And how long you been together now?
We just made 12 years.
12 years.
Yep.
Time is flying. And as I always say, and I know a lot of other people say, the premier a cappella group basically of the East Coast, because you guys have been up and down the East Coast. And as we were just talking off camera, you could be going around the world, going across the country. A lot of plans for 2019. But let's start from the beginning. Well, where did you grow up?
I'm a Bronx boy.
Bronx guy.
Bronx,
There
New
you
York.
go. Perfect for Bronxnet. Yeah. And what section of the Bronx?
Well, originally we lived in Parkchester, and then when I was, I believe, 12, we moved to Country Club, which
Okay.
is like Pelham Bay area,
Yeah.
and lived there. My mom still lives there. I live in Westchester now, but that's where I originally came from.
And what high school did you go to?
I went to Monsignor Scanlon High School.
Oh, okay. Yeah, beautiful. And of course, you're a doctor of what?
I'm an orthopedic surgeon.
Orthopedic surgeon. And pretty good one, I hear, huh?
Well, I guess.
All right, now Classic Sounds, 12 years now, and you guys have been tremendous wherever you go, and everyone's calling you. Let's talk about the members of the group. Who do we have?
Well, let's start out with the Sadas. We have Bob Sada and his daughter Julie Sada. Then there's Alan Fennell, who is our bass, and then Stephen Aversano, who is our second tenor, first tenor, and of course myself.
Yes. And how did this all start? The Classic Sounds, singing. Why a cappella, and how did the group get together?
Well, firstly, a cappella, that's where the roots of group harmony started. It's the purest form of expression when it comes to 50s music. I think it's an advantage because it's an instrument that everybody has, and if you can sing and you can coordinate tones together, you can really lock things to make it come out as a beautiful sound. Where we started, most of the people in the group started as part of the Westchester Chordsmen.
Oh, okay.
We sang with a barbershop chorus, and that's where I met Al, Bob, and Stephen, and also a deceased member of the group, Billy Calbo, who was one of the original founders with myself. And we just said, barbershop is great,
Yeah.
but we would go off on a break and start singing doo-wop in the hallway. And our vocal tones matched very well. And we said, let's give it a shot.
Did you always like doo-wop as young, or you just fell into it? Like myself, I was a rock and roll guy, and I just fell into the doo-wop world. But did you always enjoy doo-wop, singing that harmonization?
Well, my music taste is very broad, but my dad, he was friends with a lot of the singers of the time. He was
Yeah.
friends with Robert Carr from Robert and Johnny. I've had, members of the Flamingos, the harp tones in my house for Christmas Eve when I was growing up as a kid. My uncle actually was a singer. He had a hit record on Laurie Records, Look for a Star. So, I was surrounded by oldies and doo-wop. And then my dad was, a doo-wop addict. He had to play, I would go to work with him and he would play his cassette tapes. And, this music, once you get it in your brain, you can't get it out.
Now, you touched on a cappella. Let's talk about that for a second. I believe it's Don K. Reed or even Cousin Brucey. And they said if you have the right voices, the right harmony, 5-part harmony, 4-part harmony, if you put the right voices together and you come up with the correct sound, and of course a cappella is without instruments, you could literally hear instruments when you get a group that puts that a cappella sound together. You could hear instruments, and that's when you know you have a great a cappella group. Do you believe in all that?
I do. And, again, when I look at different a cappella groups, because even now a cappella is so diverse. You have 20-member a cappella choruses that are doing vocal band arrangements, things like that. But on a 5-part harmony, each a cappella group has their own style. How we focus to do things is to eliminate dead space. Because if you listen to our arrangements, our background arrangements, there is no silence. And you are basically creating a rhythm and a background to a lead singer. So it becomes enjoyable because you're functioning like a band almost. And you're right. If you're doing it correctly and the voice is locked, you don't even know the music is not there.
My guest, ladies and gentlemen, is Dr. Gabe Dassa, and he's with the a cappella group Classic Sounds. And of course, the great harmonization of pure voices, as the doctor mentioned, and a cappella sound. But we have 3 videos, so why don't we go to one, and let's check out the sound with the a cappellas of sound of Classic Sounds. And I think our first one, you're on the Vinnie Vella show, TV show,
Yes.
the actor Vinnie Vella.
Yes.
And Dear Lord singing the song?
Dear Lord.
And Dear Lord is a very, very tough song to sing because you have 2 singers going at each other, correct?
Yes.
So, all right, so let's take a listen. Classic Sounds singing Dear Lord on the Vinnie Vella TV show. Okay, we are back, and that's the a cappella group, Classic Sounds. And my name is Dennis Nardone. Welcome back to This is Rock and Roll. My guest, Dr. Gabe Dassa, and great sound, the
Thank
Classic Sounds. And I tell you, it's that's a tough song to do, Dear Lord. And the doo-wop world, that's like a classic tune, isn't it?
Yeah, I proposed the song, and from the first day we performed it, the response was amazing.
Yeah.
It's a song that if you're a true doo-wopper, once you hear it, it just catches you, pulls you right in. It's really a great song.
You have that young lady in the group, Julie. She's a great addition because she's young and she has such a vibrant, perfect voice for your group.
Yeah, and she also gives us a lot of versatility. If we only had 5 guys, we have some limitations as to the material that we can do. She opened up doors to music that we could not have, even thought of doing. At Last for one,
Yeah.
and Sunday Kind of Love, a lot of Etta James stuff that we do. So she really
it's
is
good
a
sound.
great addition.
Now, idol contests. You guys have Classic Sounds entered a couple of idol contests. I believe one down in Jersey, another one down in Washington, D.C., is it? And you guys, you come out on top, no?
Yeah, we did 2 a cappella idols, which is called Sing Strong. We did one in Washington, D.C., and then 2 years later in Chicago, and won both. I think Chicago, yeah. Audience favorite and overall judges, first place. And we also were on the Don K. Reed a cappella showdown before the Richard Nader shows at the Meadowlands.
Oh, that's the one in Jersey.
So we won that in 2009 and opened the show, and also in 2011.
Yeah. So you got to be kind of proud of putting together this a cappella group, and you guys are really taking off. And how many albums do you have out?
Well, we have 5 CDs.
5 CDs.
Yeah. 4 we produce ourselves. Or I did most of the production and the recording, and we have one on Time Life.
By the way, I have to say thank you because my
yes.
voice is on one of the albums,
Yes,
right?
yes. And
Here I am listening to the album. You guys gave me the album, and I'm listening to it, and all of a sudden I said, this voice sounds familiar. So I went back, and I had a look. And
you weren't sure there for a minute, right?
I wasn't sure. And anyway, make a long story short, I thank you so very much. That was a great surprise.
Yeah.
And an honor, to be honest.
Well, listen, you're absolutely great to us. We appreciate the support. You're always, very, very complimentary of our material, of us as a group, and it was nothing. You actually were in the liner notes for that, and when I sent it to production, they used the old liner.
Well,
page.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
I tell you.
And so, if someone wants to obtain an album with a CD, how do we get in touch with Classic Sounds?
Obviously, come to the shows.
Oh,
That's the best way. We always sell at our shows. We're on.
How do we come to the shows? We got to look on your website for the schedule.
ClassicSoundsMusic.com.
One more time.
ClassicSoundsMusic.com.
Okay.
That's our website. It has our whole calendar. There's an email engine in there to reach out to us to buy material. But we're also on the label Crystal Ball Records. So, you can look up Crystal Ball Records. He distributes all of our material.
Okay, since we talked about albums and CDs, we might as well bring this out. You have a brand new single out that I love playing on my radio show, and I've got some great response. In fact, when I go on my Facebook page, I happen to see one young lady say to you, "Oh, I love the song."
Yes.
So talk about this new single.
Well, the landscape of doo-wop is changing because a lot of the artists are unfortunately passing. So, I think a few months ago they had this Generations show on PBS, and our concept is we don't want the music to die,
Right.
and you have to evolve as the industry is changing.
Yes.
So we figured, listen, we sing tight harmony. Why couldn't we do it with music behind us? So we sat and did some cover stuff at in our rehearsal time, and Stephen came to the table and wrote a song, Janine, and
It's definitely a song I find that grows on you. The more you listen to it, the more you start to really enjoy it and like it, and you start hearing this part and that part, and you really start enjoying it. That's the way I felt about it. And now when I play it, I just know it now because I've played it so many times. But I just love the sound of it from the beginning right to the end, especially when you start off with this song.
Thank you.
Great arrangement.
Well, you know, the feel that we were going for was not to be locked in just to 50s. We wanted to give it sort of a contemporary feel to an older style of singing. And when you listen to a lot of those harmonies, we made it trying to emulate like the Belmonts type harmony.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the same time, kept it to like a freestyle type of dance music.
Now you're going to put
thing.
that on an album, or are you selling that as a single?
Well, right now we have a single that we released as a, you know, a electronic file that's on iTunes and Google Play and all the other electronic, you know, music distributions.
And the name of the song is
Janine.
Janine.
And I actually have one for you when we are done here. I have a physical CD, which we actually just
Okay,
got.
so if anyone wants that one, they have to get in contact with yourself or with the group through the website. All right, now you're a big Willie Winfield fan,
Yes, I am.
and so let's go to the video one more time and describe this. Willie's in this video, isn't he?
Yes. Well, you know, it was a treat for us because firstly we were introducing the Shrine of Saint Cecilia, and Willie, you know,
Of course, Willie's original lead singer of the Harp
Right,
Tones.
of the Harp Tones,
since
that-
1952 or something.
and that
like
was his song. And obviously, when you're doing shows as an a cappella group or a cover band, you don't want to step on the toes of the people
Yes.
that made their music. So he wasn't doing it in the show. We asked him if it would be okay for us to sing it during our
Right.
set. He said no problem. So he was in the hallway and he was like, "Listen," he goes, "I heard you guys, but I didn't really hear you because my timing wasn't right. Can you sing it for me?" So we went into a room and sang it for him, and he sat there, and you'll see
Okay.
he's tapping his foot. I think
Yeah,
he
yeah,
enjoyed
yeah,
it. It was
yeah,
really a treat for us.
All right, let's go to the monitor. Let's watch the monitor. Once again, Classic Sounds, of course, with Dr. Gabe Dassa.
Hey, what's up, gang?
What are we doing? Oh, hello. Doing the song for the Wills.
That's right. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Classic Sounds.
Again.
The shrine of Saint Cecilia. The bell in the chapel doesn't ring anymore. The clock in the steeple don't tell time before. The shrine of Saint Cecilia. Each day at eventide, as I see haven from my daily care, you find me by her side. It seems so peaceful there. I kneel in my solitude and silently walk that heaven will receive and
Okay, we are back, and once again, that's the sound of Classic Sounds. and they are in the dressing room and singing to Willie Winfield of the Harp Tones, and that had to be exciting and a big thrill since you're a big fan of Willie Winfield.
Incredible experience, and get his acknowledgement that he enjoyed it was just it's worth it.
That's pretty neat.
It's
That
amazing,
really was
really
pretty
amazing.
neat. And that reminds me of when I go on stage and I introduce the groups, and I keep saying to myself, here I am introducing these guys that when I was young, listening to them, and here I am. So I'm sure that was the same kind of thrill you are backstage singing to Willie Winfield, and you go back to those years when you were listening to him and you didn't know him. Hey, I want to go to another video before the end of the show, Streets of the Bronx.
Yes.
And I love when you guys do that song, and it kind of like brings you back to the Bronx, of course, and it's a great harmonization song, and it's got such a history to it with the movie. And you do the lead on this song,
Yes.
and your thoughts on was it one of your first songs that you guys on the first album?
Yes, actually, it was one of the first songs that we ever did as a group,
Yes.
the Streets of the Bronx.
Yeah. So you guys claim to be out of the Bronx, Westchester kind of combination?
Well, all of us,
Yeah.
at some point in our lives,
Yeah, we're from the
all
Bronx.
originated from the Bronx. I think Bob, for some time in his life, came from Brooklyn. He was in Brooklyn for a while, but we're all in the Bronx at some point. And I was born in the Bronx. Al was from Mount Vernon. Lived in the Bronx for a while, but we have good ties to the Bronx.
Okay, and you always get a great reaction because the audience is always like half full of Bronx residents. So let's go back to the monitor and let's listen to Classic Sounds, the premier a cappella group of the East Coast. Pretty soon we have to say the USA. And Dr. Gabe Dassa on lead vocals and singing Streets of the Bronx.
On the streets of the Bronx is where I wanna be. Standing on the corner, singing good old harmony. I've been waiting for that man to come along and discover me. My father preaches, somebody's get a job. Oh no, I don't wanna work, oh no, I wanna be a singing star. I'll drive up and down the Bronx in a brand new shiny car. On the street is where I wanna be. That's where I wanna be. On the street is where I wanna be. That's where I wanna be. Go away, don't bother.
out there. I see those moves you're making. I'm here to let you know, baby, 'cause I'm the one. So my name is Vic, and I'm really slick, and I hold my reels and I do them really quick. When I'm on the job, putting on the show, 'cause I'm looking mold out like another Rambo.
Hey Al, I got an idea.